Good morning, Rayfield. It is a terrific and thankful Tuesday at Rayfield, and we are continuing our studies on self-care. We have a prescription for self-care where we manage our stress and our anxiety. We increase our overall well-being. It is March, and our theme for this month is Marching to Perfection at Rayfield. We're having a phenomenal time. We're enjoying some good studies, and we're doing some great things. Of course, we're looking at the history of St. Patrick's Day, the history of March, and all of those wonderful learning experiences that go along with the month of March. And we're doing some great things. We're learning some great things. As usual, Rayfield is a learning place, and we're learning positive experiences every day. So yesterday we talked about the fact that during this week we're going to talk about our intellectual self. We're going to talk about our mind and what happens inside our head. We're going to stimulate our mind. We're going to expand our knowledge. We're going to look to widen our perspective, how we think about things. Let's look at it in a big perspective. We're going to think about creativity, how we can be more creative, and then we're going to exercise curiosity. Now, we're not going to do all that today. We're just going to talk today a little bit about our intellectual needs. So listen up. It's a thankful Tuesday, thinking Tuesday, terrific Tuesday. All of those adjectives that go along with positive thinking Tuesday. The brain is one of the most underrated parts of the body. It's always working, and even when we are not aware that it's working. Our brain helps us to judge and evaluate situations. It helps us to make plans. It helps us to solve complex problems and remember the past. It helps us to remember what happened yesterday and the day before. For such a small part of the body, only 3 pounds, it has a massive responsibility. Because the brain operates so effortlessly, it can be easy to forget just how vulnerable it is to diminish the performance of the brain. And what do I mean by that? Since the brain is so small, it's working all the time. We just automatically think it's there and everything's going well. So we just don't think about how important the brain is. That's my little interpretation. We all know that the physical exercise and movement are necessary for the body to stay strong and healthy. Well, the same is true for our brain. To help our brain function its best ability for as long as possible, we need to exercise it. Intellectual self-care is for your brain. Okay, so that's how we take care of our brain intellectually. It's a lifelong commitment to learning, exercising our creativity, challenging your brain to solve problems, and embrace knowledge. That means continue learning. And you know I like that, learning all the time. When we exercise our brain, it helps us to function overall, all the way across the board. I've seen intellectual self-care wonders in my own life as well as in the life of everybody else. We have to exercise our brain. You might be thinking, I'm okay with learning new things, but I'm not really good at reading. I'm not really good at playing mind games. I don't like the news. It's kind of boring and kind of depressing. But when you think about it, all of those things, all of those activities help you to exercise your brain. You don't have to read long books, or you don't have to listen to long lectures. You can do small parts. You can do intermittent parts, meaning that you can do a little bit at a time. There are plenty of ways to stimulate your brain without feeling bored or dredging doing it or thinking of memories, not good memories, but bad memories. Let's think about good memories, okay? So don't think about exercising your brain like a chemistry class, although some people like chemistry. You can think about Doing things that make you feel good, that are pleasurable to exercise your brain. For example, you can get an audiobook. Instead of reading a regular book, which you may feel is boring, then you can listen to a book on tape. Or you can solve crossword puzzles. A lot of us like to do crossword puzzles, and they have crossword puzzles now with large letters. So that would be another way of exercising your brain. You can play cards. Many of us like playing cards. And of course, you can play video games. Many of us like playing video games. That's the way to exercise your brain. You can play different types of games on your smartphone. That's another way of exercising your brain. You can have a healthy, not a negative, healthy debate on different topics with your loved ones or your friends. You can play games, I think I said this already, on your smartphone. Okay? All of these are activities to exercise your brain. So again, everything that we do is person-centered at Rayfield. You're going to choose what you like to do to exercise your brain. And as I always say, what you like to do may be different from what somebody else likes to do. I might like reading to exercise my brain. I really did like the audiobook suggestion. You might like playing checkers to exercise your brain, or your smartphone. Those might be ways that you like exercising your brain. So of course, whenever we come up with one of these lessons and topics, we're going to talk to you about person-centered approaches, how you would like to do it as opposed to how someone else would like to do it. Okay? What do you think you would want to do to exercise your brain? Let's take care of our brain. We have to have a clear understanding, okay? The following list of activities makes it possible for you to exercise your brain. So let's look at some of them. You might create things to exercise your brain. You might come up with different experiences in exercising your brain. You might start to pay attention on focus. Let me focus when I'm working to exercise my brain. You might want to start labeling things. And when I was teaching reading, one of the ways that I would teach reading is to label things. For example, if you walk into a room, I would put a label on chair, table, mirror, door. That's a way of exercising your brain. And seeing those labels over and over again helps you to remember, and it also helps you with your reading techniques. You might want to meditate to exercise your brain. You might want to pray to exercise your brain. You might want to plan to exercise your brain. Okay, those are just a few things, and I'll read a few more quickly. Study, think, understand, speak and communicate, respond to the environment around you. Pay more attention to your remembrance. Let's try to remember what happened when I was in kindergarten, what happened when I was in first grade. Let's pay attention to our memory. Those may be ways you want to exercise your brain. Okay? We talked earlier about 2 chapters ago in these learning experiences that we were going to start doing some activities and write them down. So let's start that. We're going to, throughout this week, we'll start writing in our journal some of the things that we want to do to exercise our brain. Some of the things that we want to go back and talk about with our physical self-care, our mental self-care, and now our intellectual self-care. Okay? What does the brain function allow me to do that matters most to me? Okay, so what's the most important thing that my brain does for me? Well, for me, I think that the most important thing is it helps me to study and to learn new things. Because as long as I can study and I can learn new things, I can do better. I can be a better person because I'm learning to be a better person. Okay? So it already told me to come up with a way that I could be a better person and help me to organize myself in terms of my learning and my brain. Okay? So they gave an example here of the perception of smelling. Are you so excited about your brain? One person may have said, oh, I like the fact that my brain allows me to smell, or my brain allows me to think, use my senses. Okay, that's important to somebody else, but it's not important to me. I want to keep learning. Okay, what is important to me? And I want you to think about that. What's important to you with keeping your brain functioning? For me, I like learning. I want to keep learning more and more every day so that we can do better things here at Rayfield and we will learn more. Okay? What am I doing to nurture this brain function that's always important and helping me stay strong? That's a question. It's asking me, what do I do to nurture my brain? Okay? And then if I say nothing, I'm not doing anything to nurture my brain. What can I do to start nurturing my brain? Okay, so now here are some examples to make my brain better. To help my brain think better, and best of all, I am willing to start listening to a podcast that focuses on topics of organization and productivity. Okay, what's a podcast? I think of a podcast like a radio topic. Remember at Rayfield, we have a radio station. We have a radio station for students who may not be able to see or who may not be able to participate in things the way that you and I can, because we have the ability to move about with our legs, our arms, our hands. We have the ability to do things that they may not be able to do, but they can hear. So that reminds me of a podcast, a radio station, okay? To help enhance my perception, I am willing to practice mindfulness so that I can deepen my ability to learn. Okay, we gave you a list that was virtually endless, and I didn't read it all to you. And that the same is true for ways we can help support the functions of the brain. Start with one simple act today to help your brain do what you want it to do, okay? So let's talk about engaging in activities that will help us increase our brain power. If you're like most people, it's probably been a while since you've thought about all the things your brain does for you, much less considering exercising your brain. This section shows us how using our intellectual self-care is important and how we should start using our intellectual self-care. Simply put, intellectual self-care help us to sharpen our growing and our growth. One of the easiest ways to ward off boredom and a sense of feeling stuck is to keep challenging yourself to learn and grow. Wow. I said it before they said it. Learning and growing. Not that I'm smarter than anybody else, but I just like learning. And I didn't know that this lesson was going to say that we should keep challenging ourselves to learn and grow. Well, Rayfield, it is a terrific, thankful Tuesday, Thinking Tuesday, and we are learning to challenge our intellectual self by learning and growing and engaging activities that will increase our brain power. So our intellectual self, what's happening inside of our head, needs to be challenged and needs to be nurtured, just like we take care of our bodies and exercising, just like we take care of our personal self. We talked about that earlier, hygiene and all of those wonderful things that we do for our physical body. We also have to take care of our intellectual body. And we do that by challenging ourselves to learn and grow. Well, it is a terrific Tuesday at Rayfield, and tomorrow we are going to talk about expanding our knowledge. Today we talked about stimulating our mind. We gave you some examples on how you can do that. Audiobooks, games, exercising, our mind through podcast, which we gave the example of a radio station. So tomorrow we're going to talk about expanding our knowledge and intellectual self-care, the life of the mind. Well, Rayfield, let's have a terrific Tuesday. We are Rayfield Strong, and we're going to have a great day. Today is Tuesday, and we're going to be doing Cooking with Chef Anthony. Let's have a great day.